Good afternoon. My name is Roberto Gomez. Thank you for being here today and for traveling with me into the following investigation that can be difficult at times, but has important ramifications for the future. He asked her,
viuda, soltera?
"Are you a widow
¿Cuántos hijos
or are you
tienes?
single?" She answers, "A widow."
Ya te andaba investigando yo desde hace tiempo.
"How many kids do you
Pero como
have?"
ibas con niños en los brazos,
2.
no te tocamos. Por
The
eso
camera
esperamos
pans
a que
out from
llegaras
her
donde estabas.
face. San
¿No te
Juana
da miedo
Gabriela
ver
Enriquez
expuesto a
Galvan
tus hijos?
stands in a room with white walls.
Sí, ¿por qué lo hiciste?
Her hands are tied and her eyes are closed. She stands between 2 AK-47s, an X-16 assault rifle, and a baseball bat. Her interrogator stands behind a digital video camera. "I've been investigating you for some time now, but since you had your kids in your arms, we waited to get to you until you were where you were." On October 19th, 2010, San Juan Enriquez Galvan was interrogated and executed. She was an alleged extortionist in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. The interrogation and execution were recorded with a digital video camera and disseminated via YouTube. The video they made has a total of 5,180,609 hits. That means that posthumously, San Juana has been interrogated and executed 5,180,609 times. How can the camera be used as a weapon? Different frames of visualization actively participate in the production of reality. In images visualizing perpetrators and victims of violence, we are solicited to choose between the dominance of the aggressor and the precarious life of the victim. As viewers, we too are framed within the power relationships of the image. This is a new digital media regime. This is narco warfare through social media. A new digital media regime is emerging in Mexico. The image or narco execution video has become a tool for war. Social media facilitates a specific competition and dissemination of the spectacle of torture that challenges traditional power relationships between viewer, image, and digital space. Online narco execution videos are staged and performed for the camera. Disseminated through social media, they are directed towards opposing cartels and a general audience. They name their opponents directly, and their opponents respond with even more explicit videos and violent acts. They most often contain a set cast: executioner, victim, executioner comrades, and us, the confronted viewer. Now, when I say social media, narco videos incorporate everyday platforms of Google Blogger, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. To get to them, all we have to do is click on the right panel. On Facebook, we can track over 18 different manifestations of Blog de Narco, a key site for narco news and narco violence. On Twitter, we can join its 100,077 followers. On its YouTube channel, we find 10,969 subscribers and a total of 10,613,684 upload views. Among execution videos, narcos appropriate social media for a variety of purposes. Here, a new cartel has a YouTube press conference to announce their mission. It is complete with black balaclavas, microphones, and water bottles, just in case they get thirsty. But let's come back to the white room. What does it mean to have to answer the question, are you a widow or are you single? How can one grapple with and coherently answer any question in Juana's position. I ask you to imagine what it feels like to have your hands tied, an M16 on your left, an AK-47 on your right, a baseball bat at your feet, and a video camera pointed at your face. These videos interweave digital and physical claims to power. In many ways, the totality of what we see here is performance. We see costumes, theatrical cues of how we are supposed to read the characters. Assault rifles, black balaclavas, military-style uniforms, all equal dominance and legitimacy. Bound limbs, full confession, and victim of physical violence, all equal subservience and failed claims to power. Cartels create a visual frame in digital space that represents their claims to power in physical space, meaning the reality-creating frame of the camera allows them to perform a world they hope to see. Let's quickly ask ourselves, what role does the internet play in consuming, demanding, and disseminating these performed acts? YouTube actually profits from every view of Juana's video. Every view earns revenue from advertising. Without an audience and medium to generate 5,180,609 views, perhaps the video would not have been produced. Perhaps Juana might not have been executed. YouTube, however, plays a critical role in shaping her death from another statistic into a tool for social control. YouTube allows her murderers to frame a legitimate claim to power, and this number is important. To disseminate it 5,180,609 times. YouTube tracks detailed statistics of their videos, allowing us to follow these acts across digital and physical space. Juana's video has 659 likes and 603 dislikes. The majority of the dislikes, however, come from resentment of not being able to see the violence itself. Approximately 30% of Mexican citizens have access to the internet. This video is most popular in Mexico, ages 35 to 44. These are not hormonal teenagers watching Juana's execution. They are adult men. Here, on the right, we can see links to similar narco videos, including, near the top, a narco fiesta. User comments can be used to identify a viewer and situate the presence of narco torture and execution videos within the larger Mexican social system. The 1,405 comments show that the majority of viewers agree that she should have been killed. A significant section lament for her young children left behind, but very few actually question whether or not she was guilty of the extortion. Comment analysis locates three distinct viewer types: a general audience, viewers with cartel allegiances, and participants in the cartel conflict. Comments range from what we see here: I like it. One less bitch in the city. 2, ex-military with more than 20 years in the business. I offer my services as a hitman. My price per victim in the Mexican Republic starts at $7,000 plus travel. Completely discreet. Call the phone numbers 811-284-1291 and 687-108-0393. It is clear that people kill each other in the cartel conflict for profit, but it is shocking to find a classified ad for murder posted as a YouTube video comment. The hitman even leaves 2 numbers, just in case the first line is busy. User comments and statistics demonstrate that narco videos are not isolated cases of violence shown on the internet. They are part of a complex social system of violence. Different technologies allow different organizations of power. Social media provides people at war complete access and control to self-representation.
Originaria. Muchas gracias.
The YouTube video cuts to a screen with Juana facing away. They have written on her back, "I'm an extortionist that works for La Línea." The video cuts to a fuzzy night scene that looks like traveling in a vehicle. Now to a newspaper. A narco corrido plays. It's available for purchase on iTunes. The headline reads, "They place a rose on an executed woman. Juana is face down, blood around her face. It looks like they shot her, slit her throat, and positioned her body above her head so she would completely bleed out onto the street." In this visual regime, Juana's body itself is a medium for the expression of power. They have used Juana's body as a visual spectacle in both digital and physical worlds. It is clear that Juana is dead, and it was clear that she was killed by those that made this video. But why should we, in this room, 1,183 miles away from Ciudad Juarez, care about a woman in a white room? Well, first of all, let's remember that Juana is not a video. She is a person. When asked how many children she had, Juana answered 2. There are 2 orphans involved here. Let's remember that even the interrogator knew that they were small enough to hold in our arms. Where are her kids now? Next, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, the social media enablers of this violence, all have their main offices in the Bay Area. To continue, the cartel violence is one of a transnational economy. Over the past 6 years, over 40,000 violent deaths have been attributed to cartel violence. The United States is one of the largest drug consumers in the world, and Mexicans compete to fulfill this high demand. The violence in Mexico can be further linked to the United States. Firearms are illegal there. 90% of the weapons confiscated by Mexican officials come from the border states of Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. This means that as part of the Mexican-American drug economy in the border region of El Paso, Texas, and Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, Juana's captors were literally competing for American dollars. And she was literally killed with an American weapon. Her orphans are also our own. Now, I want to be clear. This is not an isolated case of violence on the internet. This is a complete visual system based upon the representation of torture as social control. Some of the following images are graphic, yet they all come from Google Blogger and YouTube. They are all produced expressly for viewing on the internet. This visual system even bleeds into popular culture. covering the life of a female drug lord, La Reina del Sur, a popular novella, was one of the most popular soap operas in Latin America in 2011. Her torture videos, her torture scenes, look very similar to those posted by narcos themselves. The federal police also staged their own interrogation videos with similar visual tropes of power as those posted by narcos. Now, I do not mean to imply that the internet creates this violence. Narcos will continue to dismember each other with or without the internet. What I am arguing is that the image or narco execution video has become an extension of these power struggles. I'm arguing that this system changes our perceptions of reality. It changes our perceptions of fiction, and it changes our perceptions of violence. Now, why is it important to understand this visual regime? Well, because we must look past it. We must understand how and why it functions in order to take away its power. We must do this in order to prevent its future development and prevent its adaptation to future violent conflicts. Social media is new, and so is its pairing with war. Let us remember, like physical space, the internet is a medium for the transfer of power. The internet is not an isolated utopia for free information. The future of war and the internet is unclear. But it is clear that it has a future. Violence is a social relation. All violence is a product of history, and it always carries the signs of society from which it springs. The digital media regime has implications for a global economy and for future violent conflicts. So, where do we go from here? Right now, digital space is a world that is primarily run by transnational corporations like Google, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Most of it is not directly controlled by constitutions and national laws. What we see here is a frame produced by Juana's executioners, but it is a world controlled by YouTube. In order to continue, we must change our perceptions of the structures of power in digital space and how they relate to physical space. Neither the US or Mexican constitutions apply to the case of Juana in this video, but maybe they should. Digital space is new territory and requires new ways of perceiving and regulating human interactions. I'm not calling for censorship by any means, but I'm calling for us to explore developing social contracts for digital space. Meaning, it is time that we ensure that justice, not war, crosses the digital-physical divide. Narco, interrogation, and execution videos set a precedent in the appropriation of social media for war. What we learn from them will directly influence, for the better or for the worse, the future of war propagated across digital and physical space. Thank you.